What the heck is this QOC that you guys are talking about?
You're the one that taught me about the QOC.
You know what? I love that we got such a cool response to our last episode where we talked about the communication ring. And in that episode, we talk about this QOC, which stands for question-only conversation. And we have this guide that we've created to help parents have great conversations with their kids. Because we know a lot of parents that get stuck on that one-word response or the grunts or the I don't knows. And getting good at this is a skill. And we can help parents develop that.
Time out. I know you're excited about the guide. I'm excited about the t-shirts.
The t-shirts?
The mugs. The stickers.
Okay.
QOC, I mean...
The merchandise shop.
What a great way to get people to ask questions about something that is actually about questions.
That's a great idea. Should we start a merchandise shop?
What's the QOC?
Dude, hey, parents, if you would love to see some Create, Transform, Become merchandise, let us know. Shoot us an email, createtransformbecome@gmail.com. It'd be fun to hear from you. Let us know if we can get you any merch. That'd be cool.
I don't know how you can make QOC very cool, but we'll find a way.
Hey, when people learn about the power of this tool, they're going to know it's cool.
That's true.
That's once people use it, they're going to grab onto it and be like, oh my gosh, I want a mug that has this on there to remind me to do this more. Because it's a game changer.
It is a game changer. Speaking of the game, let's get back into the game.
Yes, back into the game.
QOC. We're going to go into some more detail, some more depth about what it really is.
You had an experience where you did this with one of your daughters, right? And I think you may have talked about it in an earlier episode. Quick refresher.
It was difficult. Parenting is hard.
It's the hardest job, and there's not a close second.
Yes, but I followed the steps. I followed the guidelines, and it turned out way better than I ever expected.
That's cool. Well, let's get into the guidelines then, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
So the QOC, you'll be able to find it on createtransformbecome.com. You just look for the tools, go into the tools, and you're going to be able to find the QOC. And what you'll have in there is you're going to have 2 pages. You're going to have a guide that kind of instructs you on the preparation part of it, setting yourself up. And it breaks it into 3 Ps. And we go through an example in the guide of the example that we use is curfew violations.
Ooh.
How would you have a tough conversation about curfew violations?
I like that one because that's a hot button issue right there.
It's a super hot button issue. So in that guide, we walk people through the preparation process. And there's 4 questions that are listed there to help you as a parent prepare for the conversation.
So why do you want to have this conversation?
Exactly.
What is your goal for the conversation? What are the neutral facts of the situation?
Not the emotional inflammatory ones.
That's a hard one
Keyword.
For us as parents, neutral. And what role or who will role play this with me? Because, well, we're coaches. You've got to practice.
You have to practice.
Practice? No, no. We're not going to go full
Come on,
Allen Iverson. Now, you've got to practice. Practice matters.
And parents, we understand, like that might feel weird to practice, but dude, you're on. We talked about that in the last episode. It's 24/7, 365. You're on. Why not practice?
And that's exactly why to do it, because then you get the nerves out, the weirdness out. You get some confidence and competency, and the person that's helping you do it, they'll give you honest feedback, tell you to lighten up, loosen up, relax a little bit more.
I'm picturing in my mind the mom groups that get together at like Kneaders or other restaurants or Starbucks or wherever moms get together. How great would it be if you got together instead of like complaining about the school and how awful it was, if you actually practiced having great conversations with your teens?
Wow, I just envisioned you being chased down by a bunch of moms in white SUVs. You're in trouble.
No, I don't want to be. I want them to have great relationships with their kids.
No,
and friend time's important, right. But if they used it as practice time to prepare for these, that'd be so cool.
It would be.
So the next P, we help people get ready with this in the guide. What did we do next with them?
The next one is provide. So the questions are, what will help me stay curious and avoid judgment? That's a biggie. That's a biggie right there. Curiosity over judgment. The second question is, what words and phrases create a comfortable place for my child to open up and speak freely? And the last one is, what is the ideal time and place for this conversation.
Yeah.
Which sometimes I think as parents, we're actually saying and doing some of the right things, but the timing and location is terrible.
Yeah. The after game conversations. We've had a few episodes about that. And
yes.
Trying to plan, set those things up. And it's hard. Sometimes you have to be ready to have this conversation at the drop of a hat and just be ready to go. And sometimes you can plan ahead. And with important conversations like the one you had with your daughter, that was, you knew that, you were able to plan that and help create a great experience, which is why that question's on there, is we know that that'll elevate your ability to connect with your kids.
Well, that second section there, the provide, it really helped me to get in the mode, into listening mode.
Yeah.
And to really, really tell myself, I'm going to be doing way more listening here than I have done in the past. And, but I mean, I was able to do it.
Yeah.
They can do it too.
Anybody can do it. Like there are some great parents out there, and you're probably already really close on this stuff. And even if you feel like you've got great conversations going with your kids, I think this can help elevate that even more. Because like you said, preparing yourself to listen at a high level and provide that safe environment where your son or daughter can feel loved, feel like you're proud of them, that you respect them, you honor them, and that you trust them. That's what we're after with this, and we think this really will help people to do that.
Yeah, I wanted to insert little gold star for you.
Ooh. Because I like gold stars.
I think we've talked about gold
Maybe.
stars before.
Yeah.
You, in one of your recent social media posts, I can't remember, I think it was on our Instagram, Create, Transform, Become, you used one of the key phrases that we use in a QOC. Do you remember what I'm talking about? I learned this from you, and I think this is an appropriate time to bring it up. The phrase is, tell me more.
Ooh.
Why is that simple? And boy, I used that with great success. More than one time. Why is it so important?
It's a pause button. It's a pause button that you can hit on the conversation, because most of the time as parents, we shift into advisor mode, we shift into consultant mode. We've got the answer they need right now, but they don't necessarily need our answer right now. And that tell me more statement is like a pause button in my brain that helps me realize they have more to say. There's more to this story. There's more to their perspective. And so that tell me more can be so powerful in just getting my mind to go to the place that I need to be to have a great conversation with my kid.
How do you break through that barrier as where you actually, honestly, absolutely, positively know that your advice is right? And does this fall into
this
that
is
thing?
why the third P is on there. We have a whole section dedicated to your question there.
Oh,
so I think if
I don't like the third
we
word.
prepare, we provide, why do you not love patience?
Oh, I do love it more and more. As I
it's
start
so key
to use it, exercise.
What are the questions that we have parents go through in this guide?
What can I do to avoid being pulled into the emotions of the conversation?
Prepare in advance. It's so important to ask yourself that question, because it sets the table for your patience. Because what causes us to lose patience is that emotional reaction that we have to whatever they're saying or talking about.
Question number 2, what will I do if I feel myself being pulled into an emotional trap?
Make a plan for your escape.
Escape plan.
Yep. Know in advance what you're going to do, because you're going to
escape. Drop the ladder.
It happens to every single one of us when we're having these important conversations, is we get pulled into that emotional trap because we love them so much, but we get pulled in.
The last question. We should have put this in double size the font.
It's a great one to wrap up with, though. It
is a great one to wrap up, and I think it's something that our listeners, our parents, can definitely relate to. What will I do if my child is not engaging in the conversation?
Can I jump in on this one? Because
you're the only person here, so go ahead.
There's something that if your child is not engaging in the conversation, one of the best ways to help them understand how important it is to say, I notice you're not very interested in having this conversation right now, but it's really important to me that we do. Is there a better time for us to have this conversation? And now you give them an opportunity to say, you know what, I'm not into this right now. Let's do it tomorrow night. And now they've picked a time. So now they've set the time and the place, and you can follow up later. If they want to have it now, you've just extended the olive branch and given them an opportunity to say, oh, sorry, let's have it right now. And now they're going to be more committed because they've made the decision that now I want to have this conversation. I want to have it right now.
People support what they create.
Yep. And I think giving them the opportunity to say, hey, is there a better time for us to have this conversation? Could be a really good patient response to that.
Before we move on with this, can I ask you a question that I think lots of parents would love to have a quick tip or advice?
Fire away.
And that is,
I'll do my best.
And I have my response to this, and I've used it for years with teens in classroom situations and on the court. When a teenager gives you the standard "I don't know" answer to a question, what do you do?
I want to hear your response, what you do first. Because I can go so tangential on this, and I'm going to need you to rein me in.
Yeah,
so I want to use your...
Okay, well, let me give you my answer, and then I'm going to get my phone out and set a timer. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Okay, you only get 30 seconds for this. This is where... If people really knew us, this is where my sarcastic side comes out a little bit. But there's also some truth to there's also some really not sarcastic side to the question that I fire back at them. Mm-hmm. I just say, if you did know, what would you tell me?
I love that response.
If you did know, and I really don't say it in a sarcastic way. I try to say it in a
I believe you.
Yeah, I believe you.
I know you well enough to know you're not sarcastic all the time.
Right. Okay, speaking of time, you have 30 seconds. Go.
So I love the response. If you did know, what would the answer be? I believe that many times when kids say they don't know, it's actually the truth. And the problem they run into is they've never spent the time to think about these things deeply enough to have their own opinion on it. And so just giving them that space where they're like, oh, okay, you don't know. What are some things you need to learn so you could understand more? And that's why your response is a great one, is if you did know, what would you expect? Because you're inviting them to go deeper on that.
Okay, your time's up. But
I finished my thought. I was going to finish right there.
That's good. Did you actually finish it?
Yes.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I said what I needed to.
So what you're saying is create a little bit of space for them. Don't just accept that I don't know, but
accept it as
that they really
don't know.
They really don't know.
And I think it's a chance to reinforce one of the things in the communication ring, that you trust them. You believe in them and you trust them. And when they're saying you don't know, you're not holding that against them. Be like, oh, you're just evading the question, because that creates some tension. But if you as a parent just be like, okay, maybe they don't know. And now it helps you be more patient, helps you shift in the conversation to being less emotional, less judgmental, and more taking it at face value and diving deeper. That's my thought on it. I love that, and that's a great thing to get into, because that is definitely something that comes up with parents. So we have the guide, which kind of explains it, walks it through. The tool is basically a blank for all those questions. There's a couple other things that are on the tool, though, that I think are really important for people to talk about, the is and is not.
I love the is and is not.
Is and is not.
In fact, sometimes I love the is not more than the is. Mm-hmm. Yep. When you're trying to learn something or use a new tool, or I love that, in describing a meeting. We're going to have a meeting, but the meeting is not going to be this.
Yes.
This. So do we start with the is or is not?
I think let's just
go back and forth.
Let's go through. Let's do that. Let's play ping pong. Let's go is not. A QOC is allowing your teen to speak freely.
A QOC is not. How appropriate that I'm.
You like how I did that? I knew this was going to be yours.
This was a total setup.
Mastermind.
A QOC is not a place for sarcasm of any kind.
Yep.
Why not? Oh. Come on, we're just having fun.
So, I in my mind, I have this little continuum of sarcasm.
20 seconds.
I have this continuum of sarcasm, and the more important the relationship and the more important the conversation, the less you should use sarcasm. And I think that applies very well here, and that's why in this situation, when you're having these, If you have a conversation that you feel is worthy of going through the QOC process with, it's not a place for sarcasm. You can still be sarcastic with your kids. You have fun. It's more of a banter kind of thing. But I think in a serious conversation about something that's important to you and them.
This is not the time or place.
Right.
Okay. I'll start with the next one.
Okay.
A QOC is an opportunity for them to create.
Yes. It is not a time for bringing up the past. That's the kiss
Remember
of
when
death.
you almost burned the house down?
Yes. Oh, I wish. It breaks my heart when kids can't escape their mistakes. And I wish so badly that parents would understand you don't have to like what they've done in the past, but when you bring those things up, it's just, it's so heartbreaking for the kids. It breaks their heart because they feel like you're still holding that past against them.
I could see how doing this would, any progress that you had made up to this point in the QOC, you'd
It's
probably
like
just
driving your car
squashed
into
it.
a brick wall. It just crashing right to a stop, screeching halt.
This is why the role play is so good.
Yes.
You can
gotta
make
work
some of
that
these
out.
mistakes and then realize, okay, that
I shouldn't have gone there.
shouldn't have gone there, won't do that, and you build confidence.
Yeah.
Okay, you're back up on the...
Okay. QOC is focused attention on their thoughts and emotions.
A QOC is not a time to compare them to others. Oh, should I tell them about my OCD?
Yeah.
It's not the OCD you're thinking about, though.
Okay, good.
It's the obsessive comparison disorder.
Ooh.
It's a dagger to ourselves, but it's also a dagger to our teens if we are comparing them to
Their siblings.
Oh,
Ooh, man.
Ouch. Yeah, get the ointment out right there.
Yeah.
That's we need to call some first aid in.
Yeah.
This is just it's not healthy.
Yep. Cousins, friends, anybody else. Why can't you be more?
So when we always say this is about them, it's not about us. This is also not about other people too. Their peers, their siblings.
Yeah, keep it focused on their thoughts and attention. You're up with the is?
A QOC is an opportunity to hear and learn their perspective.
It is not a time for implying or using the tombstone statement.
The tombstone
statement puts an end to any good conversation. I'm right, you're wrong.
Ugh.
Even if you're right, it's the implication that it devalues them. They don't feel, and so, and this is why patience is such a key part of these conversations. Because you might be right. You probably are right. Your experience,
I'm
your
right.
wisdom, you're right.
I mean,
right. And when I learned to live in that reality,
I don't know if you're always right, but I'm always right.
But we all know, telling that to a teen, and that's the ball game. If they feel like it's an I'm right, you're wrong thing, they'll do things that they know are wrong just to try to prove that you're wrong.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I just figured out why you named it the tombstone statement.
Yeah, it's where good conversations go to die.
Yeah.
That's where we bury them.
Actually, I did know that before. That was just a little, sorry.
Yeah, you may have actually been the one that named it.
We're not
the
having a
tombstone
QOC,
statement.
so it's okay to throw in a little sarcasm.
And I think the viewers enjoy the sarcasm. So.
Except for those people that don't enjoy sarcasm.
And I'm one of those people, but I actually enjoy the conversation when we banter on here. So I'm trying to grow. Anyway, the final is keep responses simple and neutral. When you do that, it allows them to create from a blank canvas. It's kind of cool. And then the rest of the tool that you'll see when you get on there is just blank space for you to ask those questions. Those questions are listed again, and it's a cool thing.
It is.
It's powerful tool.
This is how I knew that it was powerful. Speaking of this one isolated time where I specifically used this with my adult daughter, and that was she began asking me for some counseling.
How cool is that?
It was really cool. She began to ask me for some help and support, and the amazing feeling of unity, teamwork, and my confidence in what she was thinking about the situation. By the way, we were talking about finances.
Wow, tough topic.
So, yeah, tough topic. It ended up being one of the best experiences that I have had with her.
I'm applauding for you. I think that's amazing.
I thought that applause that was.
I just didn't want to make it loud on the
You weren't
microphone.
making it loud. I thought it was actually very sarcastic.
No.
No, it was a real clap.
It was a real clap.
It was just a silent clap.
Yep. Golf clap. So that's the QOC, folks. We're so thrilled to put this one in your hands because you have one QOC with your kids, and it's going to elevate the whole relationship. Like we talk about the communication ring. If you have an honest to goodness QOC and you execute it well, they feel the love. They feel that you're more proud of them. They feel that you believe in them, and they feel the trust. And when that happens, relationships just bloom. It's so cool to see, and we know that you're going to have. In fact, we look forward to hearing about your QOC experiences. Email us and celebrate the heck out of those things with us. createtransformbecome@gmail.com. We'd love to hear about the great experiences you have with this tool. And maybe even celebrate some of you on the show. It's just a great, great thing.
Parents, you can do this.
Yep. You definitely can do this. We're here to help, but we believe in you, and we know that you guys are making a huge difference for your kids. Keep doing great things. Thanks for tuning in to the Stop Parenting, Start Coaching podcast. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
On behalf of Steve Galley, I'm Nate Crandall, and we thank you, our loyal listeners, for tuning in to this episode. If you love what you're learning from the Stop Parenting and Start Coaching podcast, we would appreciate it very much if you would leave us a 5-star review and some glowing comments. We also encourage you to share this episode with your friends and family who are parents of athletes and performers. And if you want to explore further and see what Steve and I are creating to help thousands of parents, athletes, and performers, please visit our company's website at createtransformbecome.com. That's createtransformbecome, all one word, .com. There you'll find a growing number of resources to help you elevate your performance. Thank you again for your support, and we encourage you to create a magical relationship with your athlete and performer.